him. 2 races at a sunny Brands Hatch as part of round 5 of the Pirelli Porsche Cup. Nigel Rice's yellow 944 Turbo on pole, but it's Pete Chambers, the reigning champion in a red and silver 966, who goes around the outside to take the lead at the start of race 1. But Paul Barrett tapped from behind and spun heavily into the barriers. Fortunately, you can see him moving in the car, not badly hurt, although the car is parked at Paddock Hill Bend and badly damaged. Chris Healy further down the order there. They continue racing while the rescue vehicles spring into action, and that would normally, you would imagine, perhaps, especially as it happened on the first turn of the race, be a good enough reason to start a race. Well, now apparently nowadays at Brands Hatch, that only merits a stationary yellow, a damaged car, a rescue vehicle in the road, possibly an injured driver. And the stationary yellow is the lowest form of warning flag that you can use on the circuit. It means, by the way, that thing that you pass several laps is still there, so worry about it not. Well, the race was not stopped, but as it continued, Chris Healy working his way up the order from a lowly qualifying position. The battle for the lead, though, continued between the men who duked it out at the first corner. The yellow car, and that is Nigel Rice, making a move again on Pete Chambers to get back in front as they come around off Bottom Bend, and Chambers indeed being held off to the end of the race by Adrian Slater in the black and silver machine, under pressure from the white car of Tony Littlejohn, and Littlejohn hits him once, twice, maybe 3 times as they go up the hill towards Druids. Slater comes back on behind him, selects first gear, and off he goes. Indefatigable, he'd make a good rally driver with reflexes like that. Tom McHugh in the classes in his Class 2 machine, just losing out to the force of gravity there. His 944 firmly parked in the beach. And that left the 64 car of Paul Martin to run away to victory in Class 3. David Freeman here in 40 taking victory in Class 2, and Nigel Rice winning overall and taking victory in the big capacity class, Class 1. So it's Rice from Chambers, the 2 Adrians, 3rd and 4th, Sweetnam and Healy. Rolling start for the second race in round 5 of the Pirelli Porsche Cup 2000 at Brands Hatch, part of the summer special, and gorgeous weather accommodating the drivers, unlike the rest of the wet British summer. Nigel Rice on pole position in the yellow 944, Pete Chambers alongside him in his red and silver 966. From a standing start, champion Pete Chambers got the advantage over Nigel Rice, and once more the mid-engine layout of the traditional Porsche chassis gets the power down as well as could be expected, and it's Chambers who leads. Battles up to Druids, under braking with Chris Healy. Healy, another of the front-engine men in his 944 Turbo. Down through Graham Hill Bend, somebody's been scrabbling around in the gravel traps. You can hear it rattling under the cars there, and it's probably from a previous race. It's always difficult when you get out of the circuit to know exactly what's been happening. And oh dear, ahead of Tom McHugh there, a little bit of argy-bargy side by side. McHugh coming up behind Paul Martin in car number 64. Meanwhile, Pete Chambers leads. Nigel Rice in 2nd place. Running again with Chris Healy, he goes down the inside of Adrian Greaves. That's Adrian Slater right ahead of him. Chambers and Rice 1st and 2nd on the road. And here is Adrian Slater. He's the 3rd place man. And Slater in his 996. Further back, more battles down in the classes. This is Richard Winwood, his 964 Carrera 2. Quite an unusual car in the Class 2 division. And Adrian Slater now under pressure from Chris Healy. That's for 3rd place. The white car takes a tighter line. Slater moves to cover. Healy's sold in the dummy. Chris Healy's on the outside, and the 944 Turbo winds up. Around the outside he goes. Takes the racing line. Slater gets back down the inside though. Brave on the brakes from Adrian Slater, still with that contact mark from a thump just about there, in fact, in the previous race. Healy goes up the inside, goes deep under braking, and then comes wide out past the apex of the corner. Not the ideal line around Druids, and far from ideal there through Graham Hill Bend as he gets the tail out nice and wide. Slater couldn't capitalise though. Slater having to give Healy room at Druids, not close enough to capitalise out of Graham Hill Bend. Healy again locks a wheel as they go through Surtees and McLaren, and then around Clearways. But Slater can't catch him, and Healy is driving away from the fourth place man. And there is Chris Healy, there is Adrian Slater with the headlights on, and the two leaders starting to ease away from both of them. Car number 8 there, the darker car of David Ellis. Further down the order, race leaders already through. Healy, Slater, 3rd and 4th places. And there is the number 12 car of Andrew Sweetnam. Leaders now catching the man who won Class 2 in the previous race. That's car number 40, David Freeman, waving them through on the inside. And he's not looking quite so competitive here. Certainly not at the top of the Class 2 field. So leaders go through. Pete Chambers and Nigel Rice, their battle pretty much uninterrupted. Class 3 battle here. In the middle of it, car number 60 is Stuart Scott. Class 3 cars have a black strip across the windscreen. Class 2 cars a red strip and yellow strip for the Class 1 cars at the front of the field. So here you can see the 3 leading Class 3 runners. Paul Martin leading, Stuart Scott in 2nd place, and Derek Gregory trying to get around him. 2 924 and 944 drivers. And here is the race leader then, Pete Chambers from Nigel Rice. Chambers led most of the first race in round 5 from a standing start, and Nigel Rice finally managed to work his way back past him before the end. Chris Healy now goes past Dave Freeman. David Freeman in his 968 Club Sport, Chris Healy in the outwardly fairly similar 944 Turbo. 27 Adrian Slater giving chase, still with the headlights ablaze. He hasn't given this one up yet. And further back here is the Class 2 battle. Tom McHugh giving chase to the category leaders. Now this is where it all went wrong for him in the first race. Has he got paddock right yet? Yes, he has, but further back. Off go Richard Burnett and the yellow car of Graham Hellier. So those two guys in their 968s, both out in the gravel, as Nigel Rice has another attempt at finding a way around Pete Chambers. They've got Chris Healy right with them now. The 3 of them just about a second apart from 1st to 3rd. Chambers, the yellow car is Rice, and the white car is Healy. Healy having worked his way up in race 1 from a lowly grid position. Now looking to make even more inroads into the front runners. Chambers, last year's champion, seems to have this one fairly well bottled up, and for Rice it's a problem because Chris Healy comes right down the inside as Rice is held up, only doing the same speed as Chambers. And Chris Healy comes up fast behind and dives down the inside at the first time of asking. Well, Pete Chambers now must see Chris Healy as a real threat. He's closed on them and he's got a head of steam. Chambers needs to be able to somehow keep him in check for a lap or 2 and slow Chris Healy down. And then Healy will, of course, be under assault once more from Nigel Rice, who undoubtedly not only wants his 2nd place back, wants another crack. Race leader Pete Chambers. Rice, the yellow machine, winner of the first race here at Brands Hatch. These 2 races both counting as round 5 of the Pirelli Porsche Cup 2000. Well, Chambers certainly seems to have contained the threat of Chris Healy for the moment. Healy runs wide out of Clearways, trying to get a good run onto Brabham Straight. He's going the long way round, and that's because Pete Chambers is forcing him to do so. Now chops to the inside, but Chambers knows that's coming, covers it, and holds on. Riding again with Healy, up to Druids. Chambers in the middle of the road, and not quite enough room there for Chris Healy to get through on the inside, and he knew it. So Chambers carves across his bows, Makes the most of the racing line that he can. Through Graham Hill Bend they go. Now Chris Healy is in the unenviable position of being right in the middle here, attacking Pete Chambers and yet still trying to watch out from an attack by Nigel Rice. So Rice, the yellow machine, best placed to the lot as Healy goes so deep inside Pete Chambers, he nearly spins it, somehow holds on. One thing you can say about Chris Healy is he doesn't lack aggression or car control. And now Nigel Rice goes by him. Pete Chambers in third place as he avoided the sliding Chris Healy, dives down the inside and gets it back. The race lead is once more with Pete Chambers. Rice in second, Healy in third, has to lift a fraction as he comes up right behind Nigel Rice. He's inside him, but no way through there. No lack of aggression, no lack of car control, and no lack of common sense either. Number 3 there is Paul Mace. And he is trying to work his way back up the order. Right ahead of him, Adrian Greaves. Further back, Class 2 cars battling as diving down inside goes number 16, Dave Bennett. In fact, there's Bennett in Class 1 machine there, and the Class 2 and 3 battle going on behind. Stuart Scott on the inside there, trying to hold off Paul Martin. And Chris Healy fighting his car through Paddock Hill Bend. Round Druids they come. Chambers, Rice and Healy. Oh dear! And somebody's gone off hard at Paddock, right into the gravel traps, and that's right at the top of Paddock Hill Bend. Well, they didn't stop the race for the accident at the beginning of race 1, but that car really is on the outside of the circuit, even more dangerous position. Well, Pete Chambers comes to the line, chased by Nigel Rice, and they throw the checkered flag. Well, that will have caught them by surprise. Tom McHugh also, but Tom McHugh delighted because he wins Class 2. Let's hope he doesn't spin out here in his jubilation. So Tom McHugh, the winner of Class 2. And there is the replay, the car going off at high speed. Russell Buston, his 944 Turbo. Chambers victorious then after 18 laps and leads the championship as well.